Wait, no, we're not live.
We're not live.
We are live. It's just the audio's not come through yet. There you go. Now it is.
God. Okay, cool. Well, that was
Sorry.
nice and smooth. So everybody, welcome, good evening. Welcome to the Map5Podcast, the podcast that asks the question, why in a world of tribute teams has there not been a Silly Billy Gaming yet to honor Billy Billy Gaming? I'm Big Hungry Phil. Joining me, as always, my beautiful co-casters, Jeff, Ethan, and Billy, all happy, healthy, hale and hearty, and ready to bring you this week's show, where we're going to bring you all the latest rundown from Tier 2, Tier 3, Collegiate, and a small deep dive into Week 1 of the Overwatch Collegiate Championships, which concluded last weekend.
Hi,
guys.
I'm going to make a Silly Billy Gaming. Like, that's brilliant.
No, that's dangerous territory.
That is so brilliant.
It's dangerous territory, because what if someone makes Willy Willy Gaming?
That's a different team.
That's not a
altogether.
thing, whereas a Silly Billy is a thing.
Well, I'm sure people have used that phrase.
I'm just going to sit back and listen.
Don't know who's made that phrase before, but I'm sure somebody's used that phrase.
Bill, you can't sit back and listen. This has your namesake in it.
I bet.
Silly I hadn't even considered that.
Which is currently our topic.
Oh
by
my
the way.
god! This makes even more sense, because you get Silly Billy Gaming, and then you get Billy as an ambassador for content, and put him as the logo.
Done.
Yeah, there we go.
Done.
This thing makes itself. Congratulations, Billy. You've been mascotized.
Yes.
And that was a really nice pose ready for next week's thumbnail as well. So you're doing such a good job already.
Beautiful.
But
half of our thumbnails are just going to be Billy. Like, let's be real.
He's got such a thumbnailable face. Let's be realistic.
That could be taken out of context.
What the fuck?
You know, sometimes when you say things and then you realize that your words have repercussions. I'm getting a lot of that lately. Let's kick things off and dive into the news segments.
News tab
for this week, and we're starting off. If you've not been paying attention to Wikipedia, Twitter, and all the wider Saudi esports scene, you may have missed the fact that it is currently season 1 of the 2022 Saudi E-League, and we've had already 1 week of content under our belts, and a lot of really interesting rosters. And like, we've spoken a little bit about the EMEA region and the fact that the Middle East is an up-and-coming region, and like, we're starting to see more and more out of a region that has typically been like very self-contained. So we are seeing some really big imports here. Like, we've got like a lot of very famous, very well-known Saudi players. So like Yezen, like I think probably the most well-known player from that region is playing in Saudi E-Leagues, because of course, why wouldn't you pick up Yezen if you're going to be playing in that region? But we've also got like big EMEA talent, like we've got Krendup, we've got Asking there over there. We've also got, and I think this might be the first time we've seen this happen, we actually have Korean talent who have flown out to Saudi to take part. Like, we'll get into that when we look at some of the rosters that have come out in the past week. But yeah, this is a big deal in a way that I don't think the Saudi E-Leagues. Not to say the Saudi E-Leagues hasn't been a big deal, because boy, they've got a prize pool, but like, this is a real step up for them this season.
Yeah,
It really is.
Yeah,
I mean, the commitment to fly players out is absolutely huge. And Ocean, I think you actually got some score updates for us from the recent games here in week 1.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's maybe actually better to like save them till after we see the rosters, because it's super interesting. Because I mean, these rosters, you know, you look at them and then there'll be some shock results as well. Yeah. So that'll be interesting just to keep a tab on at the end, I think, actually.
I mean, speaking about, you know, rosters coming up, I mean, Krendup first out the gate here. They're next to Ange, the Swedish superhero, and that is Doktye over there on the left-hand side, the noob with the beanie. Shower check for Asking was completed, and Krendup said he smells. So we don't actually know what the team is, because I went and tried to dig in.
Phoenix.
Well, I mean, I clicked on their manager's name, also former manager of DICE. We'll get into that, because they got kicked too from DICE while they were in Saudi Arabia. But, you know, at least those two we know are on the team. And we'll be looking forward to seeing more of who is actually on this Team Phoenix. I tried to find them on Twitter. I followed the link, and it says this page does not exist.
They're not on Twitter, but I believe they are on
on
the Wikipedia page. I'm just trying to navigate to that myself. Where are they?
I have a link. If
Phoenix
you want
Esports. Here we go. Asking LBD7, IJDX, Krendup, Black Swords, A&J, and Flawless. And if you're like me, you'll probably recognize the EU names, maybe not quite so much the Saudi names, but I mean, Grand Up and A&J is a pretty good place. I always A&J or Anj. I always get this wrong.
I
always called him Anj. I called him Anj because I actually did a VOD review for him once, and he actually said it's Anj.
Ah, okay,
really?
Fine. Anj it is.
Yep.
Well, yeah. So a good call for that. We can talk about how they're doing when we come into that a little bit later on. But yeah, Phoenix Esports.
This is one for me. I'm going to take the next roster reveal. I took this one because a player that on this roster really interests me, and that's Alto. You may have seen Alto in the Overwatch League, or as I know Alto, for giving me nightmares when attending playing Talon and contenders. Him, Kellen, and Chorong, quite frankly, abused us, and I don't really want to say. Alto play against one of my teams again. Very, very good player. Really exciting player for the Ultimates. Also coached by ex-Paris Eternal coach Gets Amazed, who I believe is a previous coach of 01. So that's to watch out for as well.
Sorry, gamers.
What happened?
That's okay. No, it's good. Yeah, of course.
Am I still good?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're fine. Don't worry. We're getting the team preview in full screen here, and actually, it's really cool.
It is.
For those of you watching at home, Ethan can't see the preview, so you're
Well, I
ahead of
can't
him
see the
as an
preview.
audience.
When I full screened it, the audio came through, so it was like, yeah, it got a little loud there for a moment. So,
well, it's okay because this Ultimates roster is pretty good. Antigon, Boostio, two very good tiny players that I've seen. Antigon and Scrims a little bit. Good player. Lolsish and Exarath, pretty good EMA talent to round out with. And Fuki as well. We all know Fuki, good player. But again, for me, I think it's really cool to see a player like Alto here. I think it's a unique pickup.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I think it's also important to note that Get Amazed is coaching the squad.
Already noted that. All right.
Yeah, we noted that.
Yeah.
Maybe if you listen to me instead of playing live videos, it'd be all right.
I'm sorry, I was doing prod. I also am segueing into. Okay, so with that, we had just some cool tweets from Get Amazed here, just showing some love to people that have been by his side through thick and thin, and showing his hype for this roster. So, love to see good stuff out of Get Amazed. Big fan. So, that's all.
I like how much bigger Get Amazed is than everybody else on this roster. Like it's real strong dad energy from Get Amazed. Here.
It really is.
That's an important thing for a coach to have.
You could have just left it with how much bigger he is than everyone. Just full stop. Like,
look, I know for a fact that myself and Billy are approaching giant proportions. So let's wait until we've actually got some hard numbers on the actual size of Get Amazed before we make that kind of comparison.
All right, fair enough.
I don't know what you guys are talking about because I am a gigachant.
6'6" gaming warlord.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to doubt you because I know you're a smart guy and I know you've got some coaching chops, but also like you do give off kind of 5'2" energy.
That's fair enough. Look.
Not in a negative way. You just, you seem like a very polite little guy. I think is the point I want to make here.
You're calling him a sprite.
I think you're the first ever person who's called me polite. And second of all, 5'7". Thank you very much.
Okay, that's still small.
Yeah, it's pretty small. Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, let's be real. Again, it's not what you do. I can reach the top shelf and the bottom shelf in Tesco. It's what you do with your height that counts and your size as well. So yeah, let's move on.
Bring a step stool with you when you're going to Costco.
Just in case.
Yeah, just.
I don't know what Costco is, but I can rate the top shelf in the normal shops that we have.
Okay, to the supermarket or whatever we call a grocery store in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, or just Tesco. That's what we call it, Tesco.
Oh,
that's the cool one anyway. That's what for cool people.
All right, I did not see Tesco in our run of show, but apparently it made it in nevertheless.
It has derailed us significantly, yeah.
Awesome. Well, there you go. So moving on. I guess this is me.
It is. That's why I didn't quite so long.
I didn't even need a sign or anything.
You bloody did. It took you a fucking while.
Fair enough. I'm about to change our topic from Ocean's a polite little sprite. That is no longer the topic. That is topic is Falcons. Of course, Falcons are very dominant through Contenders EU. And this roster looking as scary as ever. I mean, just absolutely wow. As we're going to have Helv, Jumbin. I mean, Heesang. Like, let's just skip right to Heesang.
Big Heesang fan.
Yeah. One of the best players not in Overwatch League.
One of the best players who play Overwatch.
Yeah, just period. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Suna, Madara, like that is a deadly DPS line. And of course, Kariv. Infamous.
Kariv's getting around a lot recently.
Yeah, no doubt. So, I mean, big things, big expectations, should I say, from this roster. You've got a lot of star power here, and kind of kidnapping Helv. I mean, like, that's a dubious move, going into Contenders. Who knows if BH will actually make a comeback? I mean, I think everybody's got their fingers
BH
crossed.
have been disbanded.
I know. That's what I'm saying, make a comeback. Like, if they'll return for Overwatch 2.
This to know. Let's be real. We're not going to see Heesang playing for Falcons in the future. These are temporary rosters.
Yeah. This is like
that would be
look at the amount of money. What is the prize pool? It's
a lot. Look.
Yeah, it's nearly $107,000.
God.
Across all.
For one tournament with 6 teams in it, like that's mental.
That is mental.
And so you if you're O1 Esports, if you're Falcons, if you've got a bit of a name for yourself, like importing some talent is probably a pretty wise investment here. Like your potential return on investment is huge.
Yeah. I mean, the teams could fly themselves out and still
I would imagine
get a great return on this.
Yeah.
I would imagine this is pretty safe to show. I'd imagine to best place their players anyway. Definitely not with the shock margin. I'd imagine that they get a salary anyways. So you probably didn't need to pay them that much to come out here for this event. You probably just need to pay for their flights, etc.
Yeah.
So like, it's probably a cheaper thing to do than you would expect.
Important to note, they also got Coach Amir from Uprising Academy, who did a spectacular job.
Big Amir fan.
Yeah, he did an absolutely bang-up job with Uprising Academy last year. They were, second only to ISU and not by a huge margin, to be honest. Yeah. Overwatch League level, which is now, been proven to come to fruition, to see UA, take a series off of them. I mean, they beat them once. It wasn't in the grand finals situation. But we're always a challenge, and we're always that runner-up. We're always second place consistently throughout 2021. Right. So, big Amir fan.
Can I speak on Amir?
They've also got Lorena. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to speak on Amir because I'm speaking to Amir outside of Uprising Academy and just talked about some of his ambitions. What a well-spoken individual Amir is. Like, genuinely, really well-spoken. And I just want to note that there's not many head coaches like that. He always has a clear direction of what he wants to do with a certain roster. Is that roster's goal? Are the players wanting to make Overwatch League? Are they wanting to win Contenders? What are the goals of those players? He considers that and gets that team going in a direction. He's well-spoken. I'm a big Amir fan, and I do not think there's many coaches in the West who could do what he can.
Okay, wow. That sounds like a good clip for Twitter. Thank you.
Billy, did you you had a thought on Lorenaga?
Yeah, Lorenaga and Yasimba, both coming from Young and Beautiful, the French dominant team there. You saw Lorenaga and Fefe do a lot for not only the Overwatch French team, the World Cup team, but also, they worked a lot with Ben Best. Fefe and Lorenaga very talked about with him. I did the translation of the Zarad interview with him and with, I believe it was with Poco as well. So, looking at what Lorenaga and Yasimba bring to the team, they're going to bring that daily dedication and those finer points that you really expect to see, like positional coaches that we see here in America. For this, they build the hype every time they come in. They have a clear plan. And Amir, Yasimba, and Lorenaga, are you kidding me? That is like a dream team of coaches as far as Western teams. Where we're talking not looking at anything Korean or Chinese, but for the Western side, they are some of the best.
Yeah, it's an exciting roster. It's an exciting coaching staff. Looking forward to seeing how the second weekend of this goes. And I was just looking at this prize pool again because 4th place is $10,000.
Yeah,
4th place. That is the prize pool for another pretty good open tournament in a 4th place finish. It's honestly mental. Let's
out of 6 teams, mind you.
I know it's gonna feel pretty
teams.
bad. Like if you finish 5th and 6th, you don't get any of the prize pool. But boy, the second you hit 4th, it is one of your biggest paydays as a tier 2, tier 3 player.
You're getting burgers that night. Everybody's getting burgers.
Oh yeah.
That's fucking more than a burger.
well,
You get at least 30 cocktails. Fucking hell.
The other roster that I wanted to talk about is arguably the best performing roster at the minute, and that's O1 Esports. Again, another fairly well-known name in the EMEA Tier 2 Contenders Trials Open Division scene, and they have imported some talent, but mostly from EMEA still. But the entire roster reads UB, Yezen, Goku, Quartz, Doge, IMO97, Kelix, and One. And doubtless, if you're watching this, you know Doge and Kelix. I think everybody in the scene knows who Yezen or Yezan is at this point. The prodigal Pharah player, pretty good Echo player as well, but like definitely famous for their Pharah playstyle, hitting like peak relevance with Avoided as they were at the time in the sort of combo with Ball, that Wrecking Ball Pharah playstyle, which was kind of ahead of its time if you look at what's being played at the minute. But yeah, a really strong roster. And I do also want to highlight Yobi, who is a shit hot tracer player, has definitely gone toe to toe with some of the best tier 2 tracer players.
Yubi is sick
at a trials of I really would love to see Yubi given a bigger stage to perform on, because I think he's a genuine development talent and could go quite a long way with the right resources behind them. The slightly weird part of this roster that I want to bring up is, as well as Yezen, we have Goku on this roster, and maybe a little bit unfairly, Goku kind of has this reputation as like Yezan Jr. or Yezan like another Saudi player who is a Pharah specialist. And like, who gets the playtime here if we're going to be seeing Pharah in the mix? Is it going to go to Yezen? Is it going to go to Goku? I guess we've got to see what game footage we can scratch up from that. But yeah, O1 Esports, I think, continue to be a team to watch.
Speaking of continue to watch, like all of these roster reveals are nuts.
Yeah,
these teams spent some good money on these edits. Like these are really, really high quality.
Yeah, I was just very quickly looking through some of the other rosters, and so the other teams that we haven't mentioned are Triple Esports and Twisted Minds. So Twisted Minds do have Love, who was a hitscan player that I had a lot of time for. Most recently played for Shoes Money Crew, I think. And Triple Esports have Trust Me, who most recently was on Trust the Process in the Questline Open that concluded last weekend, as well as Aussie. In fact, I think both play for Munich Esports as well. So again, a couple of imports here. So yeah, nice mixed rosters across the table here.
It's good to see.
Indeed,
it's good to see the Middle Eastern regions really starting to kind of embrace that. Obviously, Saudi Arabia at the forefront of it, but just that we're getting a strong presence. I mean, it's going worldwide.
It's not only Overwatch though. I know we talk a lot about just Overwatch here, but I mean, our good friend Ultraism, the Sub-Saharan African Rocket League scene has gone absolutely bonkers. They had like they went completely. Their server got shut down. There had so many people in there that it actually got shut down. And they actually had to go to a different stream because there's too many people in the server. They broke the server. And I mean, it was just fantastic to see it. I mean, it was like the toxicity wasn't there, I think, for a new season or for a new region. But, also looking at, I'm looking at MENA, like Middle East, North Africa. I think that they are a developing scene here in our Overwatch scene. I'd like to see some teams from maybe like Tunisia, Morocco, Egypt, see how they're building their rosters up. Because I know that we've got players throughout the tiers that come from some of those areas, like Israel, like Jordan, those areas. So, I mean, the Middle Eastern region is absolutely starting to pop as far as esports is going. So this is a big thing for me. I actually want to delve into that at a later podcast. But, man, it's starting to really, really go global.
Yeah, I think that's a thing that is worthy of its own podcast episode. And I'd love to get some people from the region on. I know, like, Africa as a region, like, it's a little tricky for us as Americans and Europeans. We say Africa when, like, actually it is this massive landmass with a range of different appetites for esports. Like, I know that South Africa has a very vibrant scene. It's a very small scene because of sort of the way South Africa as a country has historically operated. Like, it's a lot more like a European country than we might otherwise expect. And so, like, they have some of the infrastructure there, but it isn't always connected to the wider area. So, like, when I was working regularly with Cloudburst, who is a South African caster, previously doing Overwatch, now I believe doing Valorant, and also Trinok, really nice guy, really cool guy, I believe mostly involved in Rainbow Six these days. Like, I sort of had this thing of like, God, you guys are always playing on this massive ping when you're remoting into servers in the Middle East or in Europe. Like, surely you want servers like in South Africa. Said, yeah, but if we had our servers in South Africa, we would only have South African players to play against, and there aren't enough of us here to support a scene.
Yeah.
So like, developing is the right word, and like, there's definitely some massive scope for growth. And I'd love to, like, I'm just spitballing. I'd love to talk to someone who actually knows what they're talking about and not just trying to pull facts out of their ass.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it makes sense. I was thinking about that as well, as far as the ping. Like, they're just so far away, and I mean, Africa's bigger than North America.
I mean, we have some good South African players.
They have oceans to cross. We do.
We have Condi, and I think is Matic from South Africa.
Yeah,
for a long time,
South Africa, but he lives in the UK now.
For a long time, the number one May player in the EU ladder was from South Africa. I forget the name.
Okay, cool. Look, that's a good point. I do want to move on a little bit and talk about some of the results, and I also do want to talk about the money that's involved inside E-Links. Why it's is it dangerous? Is it a good thing? You know, because there are things we have to discuss there. So let's move into some of the results. We've kind of talked about three major rosters that excited us. Those being the Ultimates, the Falcons, and the roster of O1. O1, I would like to say, is 2-0 after 3-0ing a roster with Heesang on it in Falcons. That's extremely impressive from O1. A good start from them. Falcons 1-1 record with their 3-1 win over the Ultimates today. So those three teams have already kind of had a couple of scuffles already. So O1 looking in good position so far in terms of results, which is a big surprise to me.
Well, I mean, you're talking about, you know, if you aim for the king, you best not miss. Like, 0-1 did not miss. Holy cow. Yeah. And you're traditionally, I mean, there's no way anybody would bet on 0-1 beating Falcons. Like, that is just from the names of the orgs. You look at that and go, no. I mean, even looking at the rosters, you're still like, wait, what? Like, okay. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they're doing it consistently now. 0-1 are challenging Falcons in the Middle East consistently. That's a cool narrative to watch out for. One thing I actually want to credit O1 quickly before I move on to another topic, that around this Saudi leagues, it can be a little bit, I guess, worrying in a sense. O1 have a pretty good human rights record, you know, as far as being a little bit more inclusive with their players and staff. Keep that up. That's something we want to see from a Middle East team. It's good to see. Unfortunately, when all this money comes into esports from Middle East, we've already seen this in sport, that it can have some contradicting effects. It doesn't seem that we had too many problems so far, so I'm all for the Saudi E-Leagues and the good prize pool that it has, but I ask people to be wary of some of the issues going on in some of those countries, and I think it's important that we note that those people might need support.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for taking the time to bring that up, Ethan.
All right, then we are moving on. Yeah. Or are we not?
No, moving forward.
We're moving on. We're ready to go.
I am marshaling this train onward. This is kind of near and dear to my heart. Yes, one moose do, and that's what I am. So we're going to go ahead and take a look here at the St. Louis area team. Maryville University is probably getting their new arena. And it's supposed to be 3,000 seats large. That would be a very big improvement to the northwestern side of St. Louis, which is where Maryville is stationed at. I mean, they're looking at a multi-billion dollar esports revenue coming in from this. And as somebody that's local-ish, you know, American-wise, it's only 3 hours away. I've had a chance to drive by the campus. The campus is beautiful. I think that this is absolutely huge. It's going to also bring in St. Louis County and the surrounding schools around there to build up the esports scene up there. They used Chaffetz Arena a couple years ago for a Fortnite competition, and it sold out, a 10,000 seat arena. So, I mean, the hunger is here in the Midwest for esports. We just recently got our own little esports arena here in my little hunky dunk town of 180,000 people, and it's kind of blowing up with the high school and middle school scene here. So, I mean, man, I cannot wait to see once they get it up and operating, because that's going to create even more hype. That's going to drive that recruitment that we need to see in the collegiate scene. I mean, the Overwatch team is doing pretty damn well too. So everything that's going on with this is going to be a boon for Maryville. I cannot wait to see it. I want to take pictures and meet the teams and stuff like that up there, because that's something that we're all trying to do. A lot of us in our casting circles, a lot of us are trying to get out there and meet some of these teams. My next one is Wichita State. That's somebody I want to get out there and see. I want to go meet them and see if Flexecution's still out there, because I think he's still kind of semi-coaching their Overwatch team, and he was one of my favorites back in the day. So, yeah, I mean, esports, collegiate scene, arena, good all around.
Yeah, I wish we had this sort of stuff in the UK. I'm just a little bit jealous of you gamers, right, over in the US right now. And collegiate scene is vibrant. That's not the word I want to use. It's flowing. It's doing well. Sorry.
It's resonating. It's resonating at a particular frequency.
I do think this sort of touches on a topic that is a topic for another episode, but we're kind of not seeing this investment in the UK or in.
Yeah, I made a tweet about that.
It's happening here and there, but it's not happening at anywhere near the same rate. I think there is definitely a very interesting discussion to be had about how Europe as a competitive region might be getting a little left behind by the progress being made stateside.
Yeah. I want to actually note, in Overwatch, this helps North America a lot. There was a point where you could have said that North America is the worst region in competitive contenders by a little bit. You could have said that. It's an argument that could have been made. But with these collegiate schools coming in,
very careful there to make it clear that you're not the one making that argument there, Ethan.
Yeah, no, it was me.
No, it was me.
I would have said that. I definitely would have said that they were behind. And I have made really good steps with the introductions of some better arenas. Esports being a little bit more better towards people who are just looking to socially interact as well, so they could go to these events and interact with other gamers, etc. And also the introduction of collegiate, which has really, really helped the North American scene. I know North America has easily surpassed Europe in terms of Overwatch. And Europe has been left behind, or the UK in particular. So America and the NA region have done a good job there.
Nice. All
I
right,
still think American Tornado would have destroyed the Sydney Drop Bears, but hey, I mean, if we're talking contenders, I think North America destroys Australia all day long.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna be real. I wasn't counting Australia.
We had this last week, I think.
Yeah. Australia doesn't exist in Ocean's mind. He's one of those. It's like it's fake. You know, they're all actors.
No, I didn't say it. Look,
Australia is a false flag operation.
Yes, exactly.
No, but if you look,
fake gamers.
The only people that I've looked at from Australia and that I consider talents that the other regions would look at are Soggy and of course like Adam. Obviously Soggy not from Australia but has played in Australian contenders. So I'm just saying, I just don't usually count Australia in those conversations. I don't think Australia is comparable to the rest of the regions in Overwatch right now.
Yeah,
they have the great casting. They have great casting. Oh my god, they have
great casting. Sure, but
they actually suffer from a slightly different symptom to what is currently happening in EU, in that they are so isolated. Like if you look at Australia as a region, for them to compete East Coast to West Coast is already pretty difficult. For them to start competing with other regions becomes harder still. Like their nearest competitive region is my geography is not quite good enough for this, but it's maybe
Pacific.
I was going to say it's Pacific, but Pacific doesn't really exist as a region anymore. Like it's a toss up whether it probably is Korea, but not by a huge amount. So they they suffer from being a big, sparsely populated island where it's difficult to develop like centers of gaming.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to connect to the rest of the world. And like we have seen players from OCE, which I think is like the proper classification for the region,
right?
Because it's not just Australia; it's Australia, New Zealand. Remote in to play games with EU and NA rosters, and it's hard work. Like it's really difficult to work across that kind of situation, and there isn't an easy technological fix. And so, like, it's on them to try and build infrastructure for a single esport inside this country. I think it's always going to be a struggle. Like, and that's I don't want anybody watching this to think this is us saying, oh, like, you know, OCE just doesn't produce gamers. Like, that's not the case.
That's not the case.
It's just not set up to produce gamers in the same way that, you know, Korea, America, even Europe are at this point.
What definitely doesn't help is, let's be real, maybe if Australia was closer to North America and they can maybe compete in North American tournaments a little bit better, that would make sense. But their closest region to Korea, that's just like, if you want to get into esports, you can't really just play, you know, in Korea. You're in for a rude awakening, aren't you? Really?
Yeah, you really are. Well, boy, we seem to have veered wildly off topic again. Normally, it's me that's on top of corralling people back into line, but let's see if we can get back on track here.
Well, first
it probably was my fault again.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and blame you, Ocean. I'm not sure that it was, but sure.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
I just noticed the topic.
I'm having fun with it.
The topic is Australia real.
Change.
Moving on, our new topic is, well, Natter is doing stuff again. We seem to be talking about this guy every week.
It's time for the weekly Natter section.
It is time for the weekly Natter section. That is absolutely right. Oops. And first off, we get the ye old contract gif going through.
Mm-hmm.
So with, of course, the owl up there. So
that's right.
It's maybe he'll be coaching somewhere. Maybe an assistant coach, maybe a strategy position or analyst kind of position for a team. Maybe he's working for some new team called the Owls that we don't know about. Maybe he got a job at Hooters. Maybe. I don't know. But I
was wondering if we were going to get that joke in there.
Yes, of course. I had to throw that in there.
There is the chance this is a debate, right?
Of course.
Also, like, certainly in the last 6 months, a year, like, Natter's really started to make a name for himself as a content creator and like demonstrating in a easily digestible way what his coaching looks like and what his thought process is, and that's got to make him more attractive to teams. He is already based in LA, and so there are a bunch of teams there that he can like easily turn up to practice with. He's easily enough in position to remote into coach any of the teams on the Western Seaboard there.
I like
I think he's intelligent. All my interactions with Natter are great. So I sponsored his tournament. He's a brilliant individual. And I would also say he's intelligent enough to be an advisor for any of these teams and how they approach.
And that's kind of what I was thinking, as a matter of fact, with some sort of
I think he's intelligent enough to do that. It's a difficult or a different approach. And I think Natter's a great coach. But I think him in an advisor role would really make me think highly of some of the teams in North America if they chose to go that way, with Natter in particular.
What does an advisor role look like? Because it's not a thing that we normally talk about with Overwatch.
Well, for example, I think this is like an Overwatch League exclusive thing for me when it comes to advisors. Usually, like in these tier 2 or tier 3 solution kind of ideas, like you'll have your owner or your general manager who will get people going on a direction. But in some of these bigger franchises, you won't see the owner really be involved with those teams. They don't have the time, or they don't really care enough, right? Because, well, I mean, like, for example, the LA Gladiators, I believe, are owned by the Concay Group. They also own the LA Rams and Arsenal Football Club. I doubt they're going to be, telling the coaches, this is the direction we want to go in, right? That's not going to happen. Right. But let's use that as an example. Say Natter was picked up as an advisor for the LA Gladiators, and he was trying to get the LA Gladiators, one, to have their players on higher brands via a play style, or when they're scouting new talent in the future, because I want players with personality, you're going to get along well, the coach likes, it's getting a good direction and flow going. And we're going to talk a little bit about direction and flow later on when we discuss some other organizations in Overwatch. But direction is one of the most important things you can provide as an owner or advisor in those sort of roles. I think Natter would be really good at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really cool thought. I guess really only time will tell what it is that we can expect from Natter here. Obviously, Overwatch League starts in less than a month. I'd like to think we get an announcement before that if it is Overwatch League related. So yeah, Natter, let us know. Drop us a DM. Let us break the news for you.
We give him enough free promo every week.
Come on.
You may as well just tell us.
Feed it back.
Give us that exclusive. Give us that exclusive.
Yeah. All right. It's time for me to take my actual topic, and I'm very actually. I just saw Chiasobo in chat. Right, we're going to talk about Natter's For Mercy community event. Can I ask? I don't know if Chase is still watching. Him and DPS Deku, a streamer from Deku, I don't know, a streamer who is in the Overwatch scene, really good Ashe player, have also made a team for this for a Mercy tournament, and had a very conflicting team name. But if you want to go and find that, just so we can call him out, it would be greatly appreciated.
It's a pharmacy.
Yeah, no, we're not. Look, I'm not okay. I'm not okay with the team name. I thought it was weird. Look,
it is weird.
It is weird. Thank you very much. Look, fair, good point. This tournament's exciting. I feel like it could be good fun for like some extra like content creators or even casters. To have some fun in. It's good fun. I want to see some good Faro play. It's a fun event. I like it. I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah, I think it's a nice run on from the run of things that Natter has done in the past few months of like, serious doesn't feel like the right word, but like proper community tournaments, 6v6.
Sure.
Yeah. It's a nice little palate cleanser at the end here, right? It's like let's have a bit of fun with the pharmacy competition.
I love it.
It'll be fun.
I cannot. You know what? I actually saw that on my timeline. I had to like pause and think about it. Chase is one of my friends. I had to think about it. I was like, yo, what? Nah, he's not just done that.
Do we need to have a talk? Is that
I just got to let him do his thing, apparently.
Chase, you might have a DM coming your way, some scolding coming in from Ocean.
No.
I think there are perpetually a lot of DMs going Chase's way. I don't think the guy gets a lot of peace.
And it's not
on
because
Discord.
He's popular. It's just because people. Well, that's a joke. It's a joke. Sorry, Chase. Look, it's because he's influential and cool, but it's not because he has got all the got a lot of interesting people who are interested in him messaging, and let's just put it that way. All right.
Yeah. I like it.
Okay,
moving on.
From one tournament.
I'm sorry, Chase.
From one tournament to another, we're getting a slew of Goodbye to Overwatch 1 events coming up in the next few weeks, because whilst Overwatch 1 isn't going anywhere symbolically, with the beta coming out in 18 days. 18 plus 8 is 26. I think 26. Yeah, there we go. 18 days.
Math and stuff.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm a professional engineer or something. So yeah, one more into the ever-growing list of salutes to Overwatch 1 is Toronto Defiant hosting a Goodbye to GOAT tournament. That's registration currently open, single elimination, 32 teams. No idea if there are any spaces left. Toronto Defiant have a lot more reach than we do as a brand, so doubtless if you're hearing about it from us for the first time, you should spend some more time on Twitter. Actually, don't spend any more time on Twitter.
Don't encourage people to do that. No. Let us do that for you.
I'm already deep lost in the source here in Twitter, and I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, this should be this could be a nice way to send off Overwatch with one of its more iconic variants. Love it or loathe it. It was a big part of Overwatch 1, and whilst you can kind of get away with it with workshop modes and with just running it in the normal browser, not going to be able to run goats in Overwatch 2. They're just one player too few. And for a community event, $1,000 prize pool. Yeah, it's not Saudi E-Leagues level, but for a free entry tournament, let's see it.
That's all right. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'll watch it.
It's just that all prize pools are now soured by comparison with the Saudi E-Leagues.
Oh, your prize pool's not 6 digits? Get it out of here.
Nah, not interested.
Oh, your SR's not 6 digits? Don't even talk to me, right? Oh, dear.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got going on?
I was going to say, are we going to have to hold up the paper again?
That's what I figured. Anytime there's a big pause, it means I'm missing my cue. Yes. Clearly.
I drew another house. I don't know why.
Okay. You and drawing houses. I'm sure there's another brig on there too. Anyway. Sungmin going on over to Philadelphia Fusion as an assistant coach for them. This is a great pickup. I mean, coming off of that incredibly successful O2 Blast roster, I think widely considered the best contenders team in all of T2 for 2021. Mm-hmm. I mean, sorry, Flutie. But I generally considering, maybe not necessarily by me, but no, that OT Blast
Quick,
is pretty sick.
Backpedal faster.
Let me get this foot out of my mouth real quick, and I'll finish my bit.
Let me save you. Korea's really cool, okay? Move on.
All right, there you go. But yeah, I mean, a great pickup for the Philly Fusion. It's hard to tell what role a coach does. I mean, we've brought one of my favorite coaches on to discuss that, because it is so hard to tell what an Overwatch coach does for the scene. It's not very widely talked about, much less an assistant coach. So the impact that Sungmin had on O2's success is a little bit of an unknown, but you look at the pedigree, and I mean, you have to think this is a good thing. So I'm anxious to see the kind of impact they have going over to join the Fusion. So.
Yeah, my impression is, and I'm sure Ethan will correct me here, that like what a coach does varies wildly from not just position to position, but team to team, and also from coach to coach. Like, Get Amazed generated a lot of sympathy in the community when he was let go from Paris Eternal, because he has this reputation as a very strong coach. But, like, if you look at the sort of services that Get Amazed offers, a lot of it is to do with like player attitude and mental, and some of the buzzwords that get thrown around that, which is not the same as someone who is like hyper technical that can come look at your gameplay and go, oh, actually no, like you're consistently over aiming, so actually to do that you need to tune this or you need to change that. And it's different from the sort of person that comes in and looks at the macro of the game. And like, I don't envy anybody that has to do that level of research into picking up a new coach, because unless you are really deep into it, you can pick up something you weren't intending to pick up, and then you've got to find a place for it.
Yeah, so I'll actually go into if I'm ever hiring a coach, what do I look at? Well, first of all, direction. Say I'm going into North America. Let's put a hypothetical situation out there where let's say I build a team in North America for Overwatch 2. I would look for a coach who is going to bring stability to a roster, and then I would say, okay, we're going to get long-term stability. We're going to guide these players, and we're going to hit these targets. We don't know what these targets are going to be, because this is metaphorical. I don't know what players we're talking about, right? And each player is going to have a different target. Some players want to make Overwatch League. Some would be happy of hitting a tier 2 milestone, right? And we're going to hit these goals. It's going to be a long-term project. We're going to guide these players. They're going to do these things outside of game that are going to boost their brand and potential. And it's also going to make them feel more confident in interviews, which is going to make the team and themselves come across better. And we're going to do these things outside so that the team has this structure that they can come back in on and say, okay, well, I'm struggling in this. Okay, do I go to the assistant coach? Do I go to the head coach? Do I go with the manager? Those sort of things, so the structure in place. Now, a head coach who could provide that structure and help with that structure and guide those players, that would be what I would aim for. Sometimes you would aim for a hyper-technical coach who's going to get the best mechanically out of players, or who is going to be able to out-tactic other coaches and figure out what other teams' play styles are. Sometimes you can mix for one or two of those things. It's what you're looking for, and you need to make sure that what you're looking for doesn't change over the course of that hiring process.
That's a really useful insight. Thank you.
That's just what I would personally do, and those are hypothetical situations there.
I mean,
no, that's more than I've got.
I love it.
Yeah.
I got nothing. But what I do got is next item up on the list, and that's going to be Rokit has left Wisp. Pretty good hit scan artist there, and he gets dropped from the team 2 days after his 17th birthday. Happy birthday to you, Crowy. Not very happy with it, showing the Attack on Titan. I remember seeing Rokit play with Wisp, and just the tracer alone was disgusting. It was not up at the level of Sigma, but you could see like the beginnings of like a really hard carrying tracer specialist in this young man, and I really am interested to see where this young man is going to land up. Good, well, safe travels and fair seas to you, young man. Hopefully, you'll get attached to a team before Contenders comes up this season.
Yeah, I don't think there's much more to add to that other than it's hopeful that we see more from Rokit. I don't think it's clear from the tweet to anything surrounding this whether he jumped or he was pushed or he's off to a new project. I guess really only time will tell.
Look, let's be real. Look, people who are live, this is why you have to come and watch these lives. Yes, Rokit has a new project, okay? We know. Well, some of us know. And Rokit will see a lot more Rokit in the future, all right? Yeah, I know it's not a big secret, but look, we've just leaked it accidentally in Twitch chat, so if you want these random leaks, come and let's say hello while we're live. Come and say hello while we're live.
Okay. Next item in the news list is we could talk about this very quickly, or we could talk about this in depth. But last week was the final week of the Questline Open. Very ambitious project from Questline Esports, who are, to my understanding, just a group of friends that love Overwatch, that have some experience in the casting scene, who wanted to do something nice for the community, and I think they are absolutely to be commended for that. 10K is a hell of a prize pool for this kind of open tournament. Second week certainly ran a lot more smoothly than the first week. I think a lot of kinks got ironed out in that one. There are still definitely some things that I think we need to talk about. But I do want to be clear right from the get-go that it is not my intention in talking about this stuff to badmouth either Ageless or Newbie or Questline or any of the production staff at Bad Batch Amari. There's just, I think there's lessons to be learned here from Questline. I think first things first, Questline Esports, the open tournament, really cool teams participating. We saw Bay State, we saw GeForce, Dice Gaming, a couple of different pickup teams. Ultimately, it was GeForce that run out there, and they pick up that $5,000 grand prize. Really good showing from Roadhog Rides again, who were a pickup team built around a couple of players from Maryville University, notably Kaluge amongst them in that one. You've got to give a big shout out to Trust the Process, who are the EMEA team, who had some very long days and some very late finishes on a tournament day like this. And yeah, like all around, generally, you've got to come away feeling pretty positive about something that can inject 10 grand's worth of prize pool into the community, alongside funding for Bad Patch Amari League to run that, alongside all the casters to appear, because the casters weren't doing this out of the goodness of their heart. The casters were paid for this one. And full disclosure, I was in that group, so I don't want anyone to think that like my comments here are in any way tempering my opinion on this one. The involvement of T6 Esports appears to have been a very big misstep here for Questline, and I don't think this is fair necessarily to put all of the blame onto Questline, because I don't think they knew getting into this what they were getting into. But some really, really strange stuff happening. We've seen team owners entering their team owners also involved in running the tournament side of this and entering two of their own teams into it, with instances of them hopping into one of their own team's chat to tell them to throw for content. We've seen player disbarment of the tournament handled in a very public fashion, where normally you would keep that behind the scenes and maybe make a statement afterwards. And just some really weird behavior, specifically from
$500 entry fee as well.
Yeah, the entry fee thing is very weird. And I think, unfortunately, ultimately, we are going to go without any kind of resolution to this. We're not really going to get any answers, because as of, I believe, Monday or Tuesday last week, T6 Esports no longer exists. The Twitter page has been taken down. And for the most part, it's very fishy. And here's the thing, we ourselves might know who is involved in running T6 Esports, but the people that were involved and made these mistakes aren't publicly visible as part of T6 Esports, and it means they can just go disappear and come back in another role.
Yeah, I would like to know that there are some very prevalent people in our scene who were involved in T6 esports, made these mistakes, and have yet to take accountability. Yeah. People who have made mistakes in the past and haven't taken accountability. I think accountability is a very important thing here. I know you worked with Questline, Phil, and it just seems that they made mistakes. They hadn't had the experience to run one of these tournaments properly, right? Mm-hmm. They wanted to do it as a good thing for the community. And it did seem that they were a little bit out of their depth, but I also think they need to take accountability for that. Okay, we did some things wrong. We need to plan better. We need to get the right guidance. We need to get the right people in. We need to give the tournament direction. You will notice when I talk about esports and having a plan and having a tournament, the word direction is used a lot. You can ask Chase. I think that word comes up every single conversation I have with Chase. I love that word. I think if you've got a clear direction and a clear plan, there's not much that can go wrong. I think Questline didn't really have that. I think T6, the people who were involved, not just that one individual who you probably know if you've been listening to this podcast or on the TL, the other people need to take accountability, and accountability is a big thing here. And I think, yes, it's a poor experience for the players, but I think it's time to move on. Yeah. And it's time to try and fix some of these things in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why I was very keen to say that, like, whilst we may be saying some negative things, I think by and large, like, once you move past those things, it was a positive experience, and it did put some money into the scene, which is almost never a bad thing. We just would have liked a little less drama on a couple of different axes here, right?
Yeah.
And so I have been speaking with Ageless, who's one of the people behind Questline, and, like, fully cognizant of the fact that, you know, that they maybe didn't know what they were getting into with T6 and some of the more technical aspects of this. And I think, importantly, very, very keen, very willing to accept criticism and look at better ways of running things next time. So great that I don't think they've been completely discouraged from running a thing like this again, and good signs that as and when they do decide to run something like this again, it's going to be with more responsible, more experienced partners. So I think that's probably a nice place. Sorry, it's been me and Ethan talking for the past like 5-10 minutes. So
that's what I came for, PHP.
Yeah. It's, everything else is just filler, right? No, like I wanted. Sorry, Jeff and Billy, do you have anything to add to this?
Not really. No.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm glad I covered it well. Then. Great.
Well done, us.
Yeah. Look, we're just the filler here, all right? We're just here to take up these boxes because otherwise it would look weird.
Look. Let's be real. Bolsking's the intelligent prov one. BHP's like the keep us on track one, really important to have. Otherwise, we'd be in really deep shit one. Billy's the pretty face, and I don't know why the fuck I'm here. I just like having opinions.
I thought you were going to say Billy's the heart of the organization. Like we're the Planeteers from Captain Planet, and Billy's the one at the end of the out with hearts. Or is that too old a reference for you?
Billy's
I remember that cartoon.
Like, let's be real, Billy's our face, and I'm just the one that has opinions. People either like listening to my opinions or not.
Wait. Spur of the moment topic. All right, so what are the rest of us? If Billy's heart, what's
Oh.
I'm taking the brand. Sorry, gamers.
That's not one of the rings.
That's not one of the rings.
Earth, air, fire, water, and heart.
Yes.
Yeah, Earth, air, fire.
Yeah. Think of Avatar, but
powers combined.
Think of Avatar. Okay.
Think of Avatar, but Heart was like what is like the 5th country that you don't talk about.
So I'd probably closer to Fire, to be honest. I'm very critical, very opinionated. Also, if we are going off of Avatar, I'm quite similar to some of those firebenders, I guess. But if I can see that. My name's Ocean as well. I'm quite affiliated with the ocean, but I'm going to go with fire because I think
you would be fire.
Water makes sense for probably Phil.
I think if I had to pick an element for myself here, it would be the element of dragging us forward into the next news and away from this bit. Actually, before we get on to this next news item, because this one is again a little bit of a negative, we do want to make space here for a news item that we actually forgot to include in our run of show. Thank you, Billy, for reminding us. If you'd like to take this one, you are more than welcome to.
Dean, also known as Capitiano, has made it to the Overwatch League as an observer. Congratulations to you, my friend. Well deserved. He was one of the first people that I worked with when we got to Elo Hell. So I mean, just a great person all around. Many, many congratulations to you. I am so happy for you, my friend.
It's been a longer road than Eli Hell, because I worked with Cap back in Broadcast GG, which predates Eli Hell as well.
God.
Yeah, he's really been grinding. Took a bit of a break, but yeah, really, really grinding, really talented. So looking forward to seeing some of his work in the Overwatch League. That'd be cool.
Everyone's a Capitano fan.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we moved to a slightly difficult topic to discuss. Have you? I'm gonna ask Will, do you have the tweet up yet?
Let's
gonna get out of the way here.
Yeah, this is
okay, Billy, you come join me in my square. We'll leave a little buffer.
I'm coming. There we go.
I can't see the screen.
Huddle up, boys. Huddle
up. Look, so we're gonna have to talk about Dice Gaming. Unfortunately, there were some, I guess, incidents last night that might have been there previously. I look, known to the public last night. Look, we're not going to talk about the players. We're not going to talk about the managers, etc. We're just going to have to sympathise with them. It's a difficult time for them. You know, quite clearly, they played a couple of tournaments together recently. You know, either something went wrong or whatever. There were some murmurings of players not having a bit of friction, I guess, is maybe something that we would discuss. But one thing I would like to know is that, look, content team are completely different. Please don't go after their content team. Chase is in our chat, all right? I'm not just saying that because Chase. Dice's content has probably been some of the best in the West recently. Oh, that rhymed. Oh, wow. That was good. Sorry. Got a little bit distracted, but look, their content's some of the best in the West right now. I don't really want to kind of highlight the players here. I don't think it's the players' fault. What I will say is, I think it's time for DICE to take some accountability at the higher level, because I think that this situation could have been avoided with a proper structure. I think having 3 team managers, roughly, if that's what's to be believed by, their updated rosters, is poor. I think that's too many. A general manager and 2 owners, who I believe are quite actively involved. And they've had 37 players in the past 2 years. And that is a big number, and that is something to be concerned of. Look, some of those players leaving, it might not be their fault, but that's a big number, and we can't really underestimate that. We can't help to underestimate that there was 4 months of inactivity in those 2 years as well. We can't help but have a look at one of the owners' pasts who they've had multiple organizations fall down previously. And we also have to look at the fact that they did buy a contender spot and really probably weren't prepared for that contender spot. I think that having a better structure, taking accountability for saying, okay, we've had too many players, right, what do we want to do as an organization? This is a good opportunity for them to do that. Do we want to have players with good personality? Do we want to be focused on results? How are we going to guide our players? What are our players' goals? What type of head coach do we want? What type of players does that head coach want? It's time to think about that. It's time to think about the structure, and it's time to think about, okay, right, so our players, last time we had a couple of players leave because of a bit of friction, okay, or we had to remove some players because of a bit of friction. I'm not sure exactly what the term is there. How do we remove that? Well, we put a system in place. Who do we talk to if there's something we can try and fix? If it's unable to be fixed, where does it go next? We need to put that structure in place. It needs to be clear to the players. It needs to be clear to the staff. And quite frankly, with the amount of players, the amount of staff that changed over the course of a very small period, we can identify that the structure wasn't properly there, and that's something that they need to take accountability for and fix. If they do that, I'll be very, very impressed. However, until they DICE Gaming show they can do that and show they can guide their players and support their players properly, I'm going to have to be critical of what they are doing in the Overwatch scene. I look forward to hopefully seeing some changes being made.
So here's the difficult part of all of that, is that in the past few days, it's not just players that have been let go as well. Like looking down the list, PDK, who's the manager. This is Dutch, so I'm really sorry. Sam Wilkes, who has a Dutch username, and I'm not even going to try because I will butcher.
Yeah, no.
Currently out in Saudi coaching Phoenix Esports. Found out they were dropped from DICE whilst back at the hotel trying to recover from heat stroke.
I would like to say that's a poor timing. You don't release someone while they're not at home. That's not okay, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, and I think what we're going to see here is another T6 thing, right? Where you just let go of the people who have some sort of public face and are in a position to take some kind of accountability. Owners can stay in the background and then just pick up new people if they want to keep going with it.
Look,
frankly, if I was a player at this point, I would look at Dice Gaming as a toxic place to be and not want that on my CV.
I think so. I think one big problem that I don't see a lot of contenders teams talking about is if you want to make Overwatch League and you're a player. I'm noting this in particular because I saw Petal and Aspen during the Questline tournament saying that they wanted to make Overwatch League or thought they had the potential to. And I'm noting this in particular. If you're changing players every 3 or 4 months, an Overwatch League team's not going to pick those players up. And the reason why is an Overwatch League season is long. It's a big commitment. And if they instantly can't see that you put a commitment down for 6 months plus on a roster and shown that you can commit to improvement, how are they going to go and validate picking you up?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like having on your resume, like you can't hold down a job for more than 3 months. Like it's a giant red flag to any employer. I tried to get that screen changed as soon as I could. It's a big red flag to an employer that reflects poorly on the individual. When in this case, it's not any individual's fault. It's not any of the player's fault. When you have that kind of high turnover in an org. But I mean, again, Overwatch team is, for a big investment, they're not going to take that chance. It turns into a risk.
Look,
and so it's. And then you're just damaging your reputation, which damages the scene because you're not as competitive. You're creating this whirlwind of players within the scene. It's just bad for everybody.
I just saw Chase's comment in the chat. What team but GeForce and Redbird /IT has stayed together more than 4 months in the past 1.5 years? This is an NA problem. I hate to say that this is an NA problem. Look,
because
Korea,
Sheer Cold and Shoes Money Crew are all like, yes, players come
Sheer
and go,
Cold,
but they're
Money
together
Crew,
still.
British Hurricane, Falcons,
BH
consistent
was
rosters.
BH was the same roster forever.
01, had a roster the entire year.
Course,
Korea
that has survived like 4 different rebrands.
It's true.
In Korea, look, the top 15 rosters in Korea stayed together the entire year. This is an NA problem. So I can't blame guys for kind of thinking about how this works. But look, if their goal was to get the best results possible, then look, they could have got a better direction instantly. They could have had players have reason to stay. Look, you cannot look, you've got to have a reason for players to stay. You've got to, right? Especially when money's limited and you can't really pay the players that limited. Look, I'm gonna be real. I paid players in Korea, went into debt for it. You've got to make those commitments sometimes, and that's okay. But in North America, you cannot be changing your roster that much. It's a problem. Sponsorship restrictions are something that needs to go. Although, actually, something that's actually just a funny note, because I saw Flady talking about sponsorship restrictions, the orgs have little reason to invest. That's a very good point. That is a very, very good point. But one thing that's really cool about that, just now tournament organizers in Overwatch can have energy drink sponsors. That got changed recently, fairly recently.
Well, that's certainly good to know. But I think another interesting point about all of this is, I think, where you have teams, where you have tournaments, where you have organizations where there hasn't been the level of thought behind it, I think it's because there are a certain percentage of people that think this stuff is easy.
It's not easy.
It's not,
or they think it's fun.
Yeah, and it means this plays into it, right? Because a lot of people get into esports at the grassroots level. They go, hey, this is fun. I'm just going to go play a tournament with my friends. We're going to go play for fun, yada, yada, yada. And it's only a very small percentage of people that ever actually get to the point where they are considered a serious contender for making this a profession. And so, I understand the people that come in just doing this for fun. But you cannot do this just for fun when other people's careers and livelihoods and futures are on the line. At the same time, we have to be a little bit careful of the people that are coming in and viewing esports just as an investment opportunity. They don't care because of the other ends. There is a class of person who has a genuine passion for and an understanding of what goes on in the scene. And not to give her a big head, but Flutie is a very good example of that. Like yourself, Ethan's a very good example of that. Is that sort of middle position here of not a stuffed suit looking for a like, how do I monetize this? Not a joker in at the grass level saying I'm just going to have fun with this, and if it goes wrong, it's only a game. Like, but I think that is a rare breed.
I want to actually know, just because I saw 2 other examples, Redbird /IT and GeForce, 2 examples of teams that have stayed together for more than 4 months. Look at GeForce's success recently.
Yeah.
You would not have seen that from those players recently. You know, I think that's something that you need to look at. You know, there's not many rosters that have done it, but the rosters who have stayed together long enough to succeed are succeeding, and that's something that people do need to look at. One thing I would like to say is there is more player benefits that you can give outside of money. There are a lot of benefits that you can do, such as media training. Look, I would love to media train some players. I know players might not.
I thought you were going to say I'd love to get some media training, and frankly, the same.
Yeah, I know, right?
Look, media training, I would love to do that with some players. Additionally, being able to talk for them to have networking skills and helping them with their networking skills. That's very, very, very important. That's not just with other players. That could be literally messaging an Overwatch League coach saying, "Hey, can you have a look at this forward if you have the time?" That sort of networking, right? Yeah. Look, and look, you have to advertise it as if an Overwatch League player or contenders player's goal is to want to make Overwatch League, well, yeah, media training is going to help them. Or talking and networking to people is going to help them. You cannot make Overwatch League based on just being a consistent player. It's not going to happen, right? I've made documents on this in the past, that I've worked with people in the past. There are more benefits that you could give players other than, you can give them a sports psychologist, right? Other than money. There are so many other benefits, and I think, again, I stretch to think that this is a North American problem in particular. I know we're streaming this in North American time with some NA people in chat, but look, I worked in Korea, rosters were stable, people, they got their money, they worked hard, that it was simple. There was not as much drama as there is in North America. Europe's had some issues recently, but it was pretty stable across the year, so maybe that's something that the NA region has to look at.
Well, and that's one of those things where, we've got Chase in chat saying, no players want media training, and they don't really care about personal brand and stuff.
What he is saying is, like, they need it, but
I know what he's saying. I'm just, I was trying to say that that's just something that's going to add to your marketability when you're trying to get an Overwatch League. That's something that's a bonus. If you have 2 players that are both very skilled DPS players, but one is really good at talking to the media, really good on camera, and has this, this personality, the teams are going to want that. And it just gives you an edge. I mean, it's like going to a job and you speak an extra language and you deal with clients that work in that language, and so you've got all the same skill sets as somebody who equally is qualified, but you've got this one little bonus on there that that's you getting the job. Boom. And that could be the difference maker. And of course, you're just offering creative examples as to other ways to offer incentives to players besides just straight money.
I think. Sorry, just very quickly to tack on to Jeff's point there, right? We were talking last week about who's going to be the next super. Probably going to be the person who is not just good at their job, but is also very good at being a personality in front of a camera.
Damn right.
At the end of the day, you're an entertainer as much as you are an athlete.
Yeah, I want to note my last thing on this topic in particular. I think the reason a lot of players don't want media training is the way it gets put to them. Look, how I would put it is, if you want to achieve this goal of Overwatch, there's a couple of other things you need to do, right? I think a good example for me would be a player like Landon. Look, Landon's been a lot more vocal recently and been a lot better on Twitter the last 6 months. But Landon easily could have been an Overwatch League as a Western flex sport if that was what a team was looking for. If he was a little bit more open, I think, all the time and had that media training resource. That's just an example I think of as a star NA player that hasn't really got picked up.
I think this is funny because we, in our behind-the-scenes group chat here today, were talking about the fact that if you want to make it as a caster, you cannot just be technically very good at casting. You've also got to be very good as an entertainer personality. As with all of these things, you have to be more than just your technical ability at a job.
Yeah. Yep, it's unfortunate for some of us who aren't as naturally good at those things.
You can learn. It's easy.
But yeah, absolutely.
Look, I'm just boring, all right? I'm just boring, right? Look, I just use
like if I'm not going to let you get away with telling us in chat that you're boring, I'm certainly not going to get it away when you have just spent the past 4 minutes talking eloquently about what you can offer to other players that you are a boring.
Look, I care about these players a lot.
Shut up.
I don't know if I made this very obvious, but when I was talking about Aspen and Petal in particular, they wanted to make Overwatch League, and it was quite clear that they haven't had that guidance in DICE because of a lack of direction. I was on some tears in my eyes, all right? I had some tears that were. I care about these players a lot.
I do think that for Billy's benefit here, we should move on to the main topic.
Yeah, I apologise.
We've asked Billy to sit in a very upright position whilst dealing with back surgery. So let's move on to our next topic. We're going to have just a very quick recap here of what happened in week 1 of the Overwatch Collegiate Championships. We are about to move into week 2 in the grand finals. That's being broadcast this weekend. So if you've not had a chance to watch it, here's your chance to catch up.
And I definitely
who's ready to take that?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's definitely worth going back to watch. I enjoyed it. I've gone back and watched both days a few times, and there were a lot of great matches. So, Billy, why don't you? I feel like we've been hogging the mic here. Why don't you take this away, and I can do some.
I'm literally sitting here trying to get in the most comfortable position that I can. Like I'm like doing like a Maharaja dance over here.
You're a beast. I appreciate you sitting with us through this.
Look, if it makes you feel any better, look, you look great. Well done, and we got some thumbnails out of it. Thank you, Billy. Look,
you're a thumbnail machine.
There's a thumbnail for you.
There's a thumbnail for you. Oh God. Okay, so I think that we had pretty much what we were expecting out of week number 1. The chaff was separated from the wheat. I think that Maryville is still my kind of dark horse going through this. SCAD had a pretty good run through it as well, though. I don't know what I expect. Winner's bracket starts tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Close-ish, yeah.
Close-ish.
I'm trying to do the math, and I'm not good at math.
Well, we're casters. We're not mathematicians. So,
yes, I believe it is 2 Eastern, or that would be 11 Pacific.
Right. So I'm looking forward to seeing Bay State. I want to see if they're actually able to overcome some of their obvious faults that they're having going with some of the competitions that they're going up against. Am I looking at the wrong thing here?
I've got winners bracket on screen right now. I can go to losers bracket if you'd like.
No, I think Maryville versus Northwood is going to be the match of the tournament here, personally. Maryville has been absolutely stomping through. Sorry to Flutie in chat right now, but I mean, they're only a couple hours apart. So you could actually throw the hate mail across the river there. But yeah, I mean, Maryville has been my dark horse. I think that their cohesion of their team, especially in the support line, has really come into fruition this collegiate season. We saw them get pretty good traction during the last contenders season and throughout the stuff that happened through the summer, and then now going through the fall and going over the break, and now we're back here in spring. I think Maryville is definitely one of those dark horse teams that you need to look for. I'm not only saying that because I'm a Missouri boy now, but just because of the overall breadth of the team. Also, having Luke Mino on your team is never a bad thing.
Yeah.
Dude, their decision making is just so good. I'm just gonna click back into this is them on Numbani map 2.
Oh, with Flutie in chat and everything. Let's really rub it
Look,
in.
it's really bad.
Hey, Flutie, I love you. I'm sorry. All right, I got to do my job. All right, I got to do my job. But it was decision making.
It's really bad. Yeah,
so, like this play we just saw, I just randomly clicked into Numbani. This play we just saw, it was the halt into Rupel. That got that kill, and Luke Mano was able to get that kill. Beautiful halt from Mikey. And then as they're going for res, as Redbirds is going for res, that's when Kaluge launches the self-destruct in over the top. And so the supports are back here having to deal with res. Gig has to push forward to get away, and then React has to follow Gig to try to save the main tank. And in which case, Maryville all pounce onto Gig and React. Like, it was just a really, really well thought out series of events. The decision making out of Maryville was absolutely outstanding. I mean, Redbird put up a heck of a fight. Like, they looked real good. I mean, Echo had some pop off moments. I thought React coming out of a DPS role into an off tank role actually looked really strong, especially with some big shoes to fill of Iron.
Yeah.
And I thought React was doing their absolute damnedest to try to keep everybody alive. Was playing as a diva should, which I can't do. Like that's definitely not easy to do. But there was. At the end of the day, I think it was just incredible decision making, good compositions. I mean, Redbird made their own. Like Redbird, when we get to extra innings, this map goes to extra innings. Redbird goes to a brawl comp, anticipating this defense of the Orisa that you're seeing on your screen. They run them over. Like that was a perfect call. And Redbird executed perfectly with that brawl composition. Really, just a rush down composition. It wasn't like a May brawly kind of. I mean, it was pure just rush down, charge at you full bore. And so there was a wonderful chess match kind of in that regard, but I don't know if it was Kaluge making the shot calling here or who stepped up. But Maryville looked like they could not make a bad decision in this series. It was astounding.
Here's the other thing for Maryville, right? That it was a busy week for Maryville because not only were they playing Collegiate, but Kaluge and Cyrus were also playing for Roadhog Rides again in Questline. So like
Bay State had the same issue as well.
And yeah, Bay State had the same issue. So like you got to wonder, Bay State, are they going to have a bit of a better weekend now that they don't have to split focus quite so much between two?
I made a sign for Bay State actually.
Let's get a close up on that one.
Let's get a close up on that. Yep.
No, I'm sorry for Flutie because they play Bay State, and this is in pink as well. So not exactly Bay State's colours.
Bay State is Bay State.
Wow.
Bay State is Bay State. Oh my.
There's a little heart as well.
That's...
Look, we talked to Leah a couple of weeks ago. We talked to Louis, whatever.
Louis?
Sorry, Louis. A couple of weeks ago, and he was saying, Bay State, they're in good form, etc. I actually want to note, that they've been pretty good over the last period of collegiate. I actually have another note on this. The top 8 from Homecoming is the same as the top 8 that we have in the Overwatch Collegiate Championships right now. Really interested to see the top 8 teams are the exact same, all performing really, really well. I like all the 6 teams. I think it's exciting to see Northwood. And I think we all expected to kind of fall off a little bit to hit some good form at the right time. We still got Harrisburg in. We still got Redbird. Might have mentioned SCAD. I know you're a big snapback fan.
That was like a Tourette's moment. Could not know how to fill there. SCAD!
Yeah, I very specific SCAD! Forces me to shout collegiate team names at weird times.
Right, look, Redbirds and Northwood are teams that have winning in their DNA. Maryville probably look the strongest right now, and I don't think you can count Bay State out. HU Storm is a team that a lot of people are fond of. However, I've talked to a couple of people around Harrisburg, and they were saying they're a little bit burned out of Overwatch 1 right now, so I'm not exactly too keen on them. And of course, Phil, do you want to talk about SCAD? It seems like something you want to talk about.
Look, I mean, I wear my heart on my sleeve when it comes to esports, and like all you've got to do is have a player that I like and have had interactions with, and play I enjoy. And we have Snappy as a transplant from EMEA currently playing with Savannah College for Art and Design. That's SCAD esports. And they were on my list to make a dark horse run here. And Louis said as well, and Louis is far smarter in this regard than I am, that it's entirely possible SCAD make a dark horse run. They have got a matchup against Harrisburg Storm, who Harrisburg have not come out of this unscathed. Obviously, they're in the lower bracket. They have taken a map off of the Northwood. I still think they're a very strong team. But I'd like to think we can hope for a SCAD upset if that's a thing that you are hoping for here. But then the follow-on from that is either going to be Redbird or Bay State, and that's a tough one.
I mean, we're down to 6 teams.
That's going to be a good game.
We're down to 6 teams, and all 6 are pretty darn strong. Yeah. I will say, I mean, okay, I believe Kabamos was the player that Louis was talking about was super underrated, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Who is the Lucio player here on SCAD? Skiz. Skiz was somebody I was previously not familiar with. This gamer was a lot of fun to watch. Like, Skiz's Reinhardt, I mean, I'm not going to say is the best Reinhardt I've ever seen in my life.
It was fun.
But it was a lot of fun. Hyper-aggressive, flank pins, top rope shatters. Definitely, I mean, just what was one of the call? I think it was Kenobi said was aggression personified or aggression incarnate or something. Like it was something along those lines, and it just made for a really enjoyable team. A team that, if you're looking for an underdog team to root for, SCAD will not disappoint. And they may not win the championship, but they're going to make a fight out of it, and it's going to be an enjoyable series.
Yeah, I do just want to very quickly highlight what Flutie said in the chat, which is, I love Bay State. I root for them all the time except for 30 minutes tomorrow. And we can understand that.
Understandable.
On that one. I'm conflicted on that one on who to root for, because I'm a big fan of Flutie, big fan of Wheats, but I'm also a massive Tensor fan.
Of course.
A big I really like Tensor.
That's our console roots.
Tensor also has great anime taste, great music taste. Right? So you're gonna have to be okay with this, Flutie and Redbird. I'm gonna root against you at the moment. I'm unfortunately, Bay State's Bay State, all right.
Wow. Oh. Colors nailed to the mast there. And honestly, I don't know there's an awful lot more that we can go into here. I think maybe one thing I did want to touch on here was that we looked at the first to two format and kind of thought, well, this is a thing that doesn't really support the classic Overwatch comeback mechanic, right?
Let me be a little bit more succinct. It sucks.
It does, but I'd like to phrase things in as many words as I possibly can so that I can backpedal if I have to and just say, "Oh no, I just tripped over my words."
Can I?
Just very quickly, like if we look at Maryville 2-0ing Redbird, it was 2-1 on Ilios, it was 5-4 on Numbani. So, like, it is a really cliche thing for casters to say, like, oh, the scoreline doesn't tell the whole story. But, like, it actually really doesn't, because that is not a clean 2-0. That's a...
By no means.
That's a 7-5. That's way closer.
And I understand the 2-0 format for the round of 16, but I agree. When you're talking to quarters and semifinals, I think it would do better for competitive integrity to have first to three. And I think we might have seen some different outcomes across multiple of 100%. These games. I think Bay State could have come back on Northwood. Bay State beat Northwood in NECC recently. They beat Northwood in group stage. I think Bay State could have come back on Northwood. Redbird beat Northwood in NA Star League. I could have seen them coming back and pulling, making Maryville at least a close game. I could have seen that one going to 5. I think you give a lot more room to see the true potential, and you feel good that the stronger team really was proven in a first to 3. Where in a first to 2, you kind of feel like, well, whoever wins control just won half the series, and that's, I don't know.
Control.
What's that?
Yeah. That's control. Control.
I mean, it was like all Ilios too. From all the games that we saw were all Ilios. So I don't know if that was just a set starting map for every single series in the weekend of the tournament, or what. But it was, if you were good at Ilios, you had a major leg up on making it in the top 6 of OWCC by being good at Ilios.
Can you bring up the losers bracket real quick for everybody to take a look at? Because we took a look at the winners bracket. I would love to see the losers bracket.
I've got winners bracket back up. I just want to say that, okay, so the only team, like the only game that we're going to see out of winners bracket tomorrow is Northwood Maryville. So your winners bracket finals. Anyway, that's the only footnote I wanted to put on there. Let's go look at losers bracket. Sorry, Billy. Let's
no, you're fine.
What you got? I'm doing this off of the video, so it's slightly scuffed. There we go.
I love it. I mean, UT Dallas. I mean, Louis versus the upstarts from South Carolina Art Design. That's going to be a banger.
Savannah College Art Design.
Savannah College. Sorry, did I say South Carolina? I did say South Carolina.
I also did that the first time I saw it.
So, I mean, Louis and company versus the upstarts from SCAD. So that's going to be a fantastic one. Harrisburg has been winning a lot lately. I believe that was it you, Ethan, or was it you, Jeff, that had Harrisburg?
Sorry, Billy. This match has actually already concluded with Savannah College beating UTD. Oh. I don't know why this hasn't updated.
Yeah, this was the end of the day on day 2 off of broadcast, and so that's. I struggled to find where they got this. I went digging through the collegiate Discord and I could not find the damn bracket. So forgive me. That's my fault. I'll take the ownership on that one.
You were the HU Storm fan.
Yes, yes. I was absolutely validating for HU Storm, and I don't think they're out of it yet. I don't think they're out of it any more than Redbirds or Bay State are out of it. So I don't want to hear it. Next weekend, if they don't win, I will take the trash talk. Right now, too soon, buddy. Too soon.
My prediction was Bay State or Northwood. I just think, for some reason, Northwood just play well in the OWCC. like you know what? They've been pretty meh in some of the other collegiate leagues. I'll be first to say that. That that was a good warning of them potentially falling off. But I thought they played well last weekend.
I can't argue with you. I mean, like, they really did step up. They looked the best we'd seen them in a couple months. But bringing the bracket back up, and then obviously the match that Flutie was alluding to, whatever word I just said. Redbird taking on Bay State. That's going to be awesome. This just some great matches going on. I mean, like, holy shit, some great matches going on.
Really good teams.
Like, really good Overwatch. You should be
watching this event. You should be watching this event.
Yes.
Okay? That's it.
That's it.
And also, they need to advertise this better. They need to advertise this better.
Full day of Overwatch tomorrow across a lot of different scenes, especially collegiate. I mean, three of us are doing collegiate tomorrow, and then you've got the Overwatch Collegiate Cup going on. So,
yeah,
I'm back. I disappeared for a second there, but I'm back.
Oh yeah, your Ninja did some rainbow stuff on you. I had to do a quick refresh.
I was just going to say, like, I think we've reached a natural stopping point there, and we are going to have to let Billy go and get some painkillers at the very least. So let's move on to closing stuff for the week. So let's have a look at this week. Did we actually
decide on one?
No, I don't think we did. I think we said for the first time ever, other people looked at this at more than just Friday. And yeah, I want to go. I want to go with the one from VA Sports TF. Never forget what 5v5 took from us.
Okay, see, I loved the Wisp roster announcement, and then Lords coming in. So, like, that's got to be a runner-up. But
look, you're in charge. You're the one with the buttons. You make the decision here.
Look.
It's a tie.
Is cool.
I think it's a tie. That's what I'm making the executive call that it is a tie because I actually really liked this. So, okay, well, first, let me change topic because I'm terrible at this. T2, tweet of the week. We need to get a cheesy intro like some other Overwatch League podcasts have.
You're acting like the rest of this show isn't cheesy. We do not need more cheese.
Look at who is on this podcast and tell me we're not a cheesy podcast.
Yeah, fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yep.
And it also runs incredibly smoothly, and there's no dead air time. My camera
I'm a perfect producer. Time. Look at that. I've turned off our overlay and everything. I'm a perfect producer. Wow. How did I? Okay, there it is.
Oh, what did you do?
I turned off the overlay because I'm brilliant. Anyway, so this was.
We gotta get you a tweet deck, buddy.
Oh, dude, that'd be awesome. Stream deck. Oh, yeah. Dude, like, yes. If anybody wants to sponsor me in Stream Deck, that would be phenomenal. Anyway, so this was Wisp's roster announcement of signing CJ. And it was this odd, like, picture with just CJ's name in the corner in his Lord's jersey.
Yeah,
and so Lord's retweets with, wait a second.
Yeah, it's such a weird picture choice. I don't get that, but yeah, it's fun.
I think it was funny.
I thought it was fun, and I like Wisp doing it was a little like, all right, like that's kind of funny, I suppose. But then Lord's like kind of plus really it. That really was what put it over the edge for me. But you had a good one here too, Phil.
Yeah, never forget what 5v5 took from us, and it's haven't seen him play competitively in a little while. And weird to see his name hovering over Sigma rather than Moose, but yeah. No more of these famous tank duos once we move to Overwatch 2, the Hattie Moose double shield deadlift here. Enjoy it while you can, everybody. 5v5 is just around the corner. And also just around the corner is the end of the podcast. So,
that was smooth.
As always, thanks. What would have made it even smoother was if I could have just kept sailing on through rather than acknowledging it. But we live and learn.
Look.
No, we're not going to let you do that.
What I was going to say, thanks as always. If it wasn't obvious, Jeff does all the button pressing, all the design, gets us into shape and ready to go on the Friday. Thank you to the other two oh god, my brain just fell over completely. Thank you to the other two co-hosts, Chef Billy and Oceancaster GG. Go give them a follow. In fact, give us all a follow and the podcast a follow on Twitter. Go give us a subscribe and a like and hit that notification bell, or follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or wherever it is that you get your podcasts.
We're on all of those things.
Yeah. Go find us. Go look under rocks for where you find podcasts and give us a follow there as well.
We'll crawl
Thank
out.
you again to GlitchX City for letting us use her Kings Row remix as part of our show. And thank you all for watching. I'm going to stop talking now, and we will see you in a week.